The father spun a spoon on the table. The spoon pointed to someone. That person would be allowed to go to school. But while this seemed fair, it had already been decided. The biased father wrapped magnets around his feet. As the spoon was about to stop spinning, he quietly used the magnets to point at his son. In the end, the son was allowed to go to school. The daughter stayed home to help with chores and earn money to pay for his brother's education. After his daughter had left, the father finally removed the magnet. He warned his son, "Don't ever let your sister down." It turned out that the idea of tying a magnet to his foot had actually come from his daughter. She had voluntarily given up her spot in school to her brother. Fortunately, the boy did not disappoint. 2 years later, he returned home with his university acceptance letter. Rushed back home. Suddenly, he was shocked to discover his father had not only lost a leg, but also an arm. The boy was heartbroken. He told his father he didn't want to go to university anymore. Now that his father had lost his limbs, the family couldn't possibly come up with the 5,000 yuan for university tuition. Upon hearing that his son was considering dropping out, the father immediately slapped him across the face. He declared that no matter what, he would find a way to pay for the tuition. While the parents were still considering borrowing money from relatives, the sister suddenly pulled out 2,000 yuan from her bag. To reassure her family, she explained that it was the dowry money from someone who had proposed to her. She had married the son of the richest man in the village. The parents were stunned upon hearing this, because the son of the richest man in the village was notorious for being violent. He had already beaten away 2 wives. The sister voluntarily marrying him was no different from throwing herself into a pit of fire. The father slapped himself repeatedly, blaming himself for being useless. If he had any ability at all, his daughter wouldn't have impulsively sold herself to raise the remaining tuition fees. The father, leaning on his crutches, to his younger brother's house to ask for a loan. If it weren't for saving his younger brother back then, he wouldn't have lost his hand. But even so, his sister-in-law refused to lend him any money with a sour expression. She even raised her foot to kick him out. Just then, a young girl ran over and helped the father to his feet. She was the village chief's daughter. The girl claimed she was willing to help them, so she announced the boy's university enrollment over the village loudspeaker. She asked the villagers to help out. The villagers were kind-hearted. They quickly raised the remaining tuition fees. The father told his son to remember this kindness deeply. He vowed to repay them in the future. The boy finally fulfilled his dream of attending university. 8 years passed in the blink of an eye. The once shy boy had become a Mars explorer. Over the years, he had been conducting experiments on growing crops on Mars. He vowed to grow vegetables on Mars. After countless experiments, he finally succeeded in growing potatoes on Mars. This marked the dawn of a new era for humanity. The boy had successfully completed his mission. He could finally return to Earth with peace of mind. His first priority upon returning to Earth was to return to his hometown, to repay the kindness of his fellow villagers. Soon, the boy returned to the small path leading to his hometown. However, the village was no longer as he remembered it. Inside the ancestral hall, the boy's parents were being punished. It turned out that they had seen the wanted poster in the newspaper. The suspect's photo bore an uncanny resemblance to the boy. Additionally, the boy had been missing for 8 years. Therefore, they believed he had committed a serious crime and become a wanted criminal. Meanwhile, the boy had just arrived at the village entrance. As a top-tier talent of the nation, he was assigned a personal escort team for protection. However, he feared drawing too much attention, so he instructed the guards to wait at the village entrance. He entered alone to greet his fellow villagers. Little did he know that the villagers were gathered at the ancestral hall, shaming his parents.